as we are going to do the coding in the source test Java, I'm expanding this source test Java, and under the Java folder, like we are going to do the coding. So whatever the things like which we have did already, so I'm just deleting it. How we can delete the package in the sense, you can just right click and you can just click on the delete, and you can just click on the delete button. So yes, we can delete the package. So in case if you need to rename the package, yes, the rename is also possible. Like you can just right click, and there is an option called as an refactor. So inside the refactor, like you can rename the package name. Okay, so let me just rename the package name as a automation basics. So I'm giving everything in a lowercase, so as it is often package name, and if I click on the refactor, so automatically the package name will be changed. And even like if I don't need the sample package, like I'm just deleting the unnecessary package, as well as like I'm going to delete the coding, so which is nothing but I'm going to delete the old classes. So let us create everything from first. So let me just delete this, and instead of deleting this hello class, what I'm going to do, I'm going to rename it. So how we can rename, so right click on the class, refactor, and then I can rename, and I'm just giving us the basic automation, and here I'm following the camel case rule, and I'm just clicking on the refactor, and the class name will be renamed. So basically, so you should rename with the help of the refactor, and you should not rename directly here. Like, so what some students used to do is like they used to delete this um, class name over here. So that is not a correct way. So if you are going to rename anything, so the rename should be done with the help of the refactor option. And then I told like in our in our project structure, so we have created the package followed by the class, and then we have created the method called as an main method. The shortcut for creating the main method is called as an PSVM. So why we are specifically relying on the main method? Because like without main method, so we can't execute the Java program. Okay, so the main method is required to run the program. So why the main method is required in the sense? So generally like there are three things. So one we call it as an JVM, another is called as an JRE, and next is like JDK. So JVM is nothing but, so we call it as an Java virtual machine. So what is the need of Java virtual machine in the sense? Like during our school days or college days, like in many places, like we have seen some statement like stating that like whenever we type something, it will be converted into like a machine language. So like we will be typing the code in the human readable form, and from the human readable form, it will be converted into an machine readable form. Okay, so what is meant by machine readable form in the sense? We call it as an binary. Okay, so we call it as an binaries. So binaries is nothing but like we will be having zeros and one. So the 0 and 1 are called as an binary value. So if I type something called as an Aravind in my coding, at the back end, it will be converted into one binary value. So each and every letter will have some unique binary value, as well as it will have some unique ASCII value. Okay, so that is the reason like when I type Aravind in the capital letter, so I can't say the both are equal. So the reason is like the capital letter A will have different binary and different ASCII value. The small letter A will have an different binary and the different ASCII value. So for example, let me just Google the ASCII value. Okay, so just let's me open the ASCII value. Let me open any other web page. There is a one web page which will contain a very elaborative description. Is this is yeah fine. So here you could see The small letter A is having some ASCII value which is nothing but 097, whereas the capital letter A is having the ASCII value called as in 065. So whenever like we are executing the program, so if you are going to validate whether both are equal, so the Java generally used to compare the ASCII value. As the ASCII values are different, so we are saying that both lowercase a and uppercase a are not equal. So that is why like we call the Java as a case sensitive language, and similar to that like we will be having the binary value, and the binary value is made up of zeros and one. So if I say like as an Aravind, so how at the back end it will be converted in the sense while I'm executing the script. So like for the A the appropriate binary value will be amended, and for R the appropriate binary value will be get amended. So which means like we are converting the while executing the program, the human readable form is converted to the machine readable form. So like in order to verify so whether the conversion has occurred in a correct way, so the JVM is going to do the verification. So like what happened? So the JVM will load the code and it will verify the code, and then it will execute the code. Okay, so it will execute the code once, so to check is there is any compilation issue or not. So which means like the JVM will load the converted code and it will verify the converted code, so whether everything is converted as in binary, and it will execute once, which is nothing but it will do some dry run, so in order to ensure that there is no compilation issue. So during doing the dry run, so like there should not be any issues, so which means like the JVM check should be passed. So one and only if the JVM checks are passed, so it will hand over the code to next person. We call it as an JRE. So the JRE is called as an Java runtime environment. So what is the need of this JRE in the sense where the actual run happen? So without JRE, like we can't execute the program. So in order to execute the program, so initially the JVM check should be passed. So which means like it will check whether the code is converted successfully or not, and also like it will verify so whether we are having main method or not. If main method is present, it will hand over the code to JRE. So like whenever I type this main method, I could able to see this run button, which means like it is run over the JRE. So if I remove this main method at the back end, JVM check fail. So that is the reason like we are not able to see the JRE, and with the help of the JRE we are going to run the script, or in other language for easy understanding, like let me just draft a structure. Okay, so like we will be having three layers. So let's say the first one we call it as an JVM, and second one we call it as an JRE, and third one we call it as an JDK. Okay, so what this JVM used to do in the sense, so the JVM used to load, verify and execute the code, and if there is no compilation issue, it will be hand overing the code to the person called as an JRE. So the JRE actually run the script. So in order to run the script, so the JRE may require some supportive files, and all the supportive libraries will be available in the JRE. Okay, so with the help of the supportive libraries, so we can able to execute the program. So as a QA, so we are an automation test engineer, so we are going to run the script, so we are not going to develop any application. So whenever the development activity is involved, so we need the help of the JDK. So we call JDK as a Java development kit. Okay, so we call it as JDK as a Java development kit. So what this JDK contains in the sense, even the JDK will contain some supportive libraries, and what the need of the supportive libraries in the sense, like in order to it will help the developers to convert it as a package. It will help the developers to develop it as an application. So when we are going to deal with the development activities, we may require the JDK, but as a tester, we are not going to convert it as a tool, or we are not going to convert it as a web page or application. So which means like we are going to rely on the JRE, but we haven't downloaded the JRE. So like during the installation class, so like if you observe, we have went to Java download official Oracle website, and what we have downloaded here is like we have downloaded the JDK. So either we may have developed the JDK version 21 or the JDK version 17. So which means like whenever like we install the JDK, so by default, so the JDK contains so JRE as well as the JVM. So that is why like we are not doing any separate installation for a JRE or the JVM check. So by default, whenever we run, it will run in the JRE. Whenever you develop it in application, it will utilize the JDK, and before run, it will do the JVM check. So which is nothing but it will check whether the code is converted correctly or not, and it also check is there is any compilation issue, and also it will check main method. So if everything is satisfied, then we can able to run the program without any issue. So that is why we are using the main method. So because if there is no main method, obviously JVM check fail. If JVM check fail, then the JVM won't hand over the code to JRE for an execution. We are actually running the coding with the help of the JRE.